You feel it, don't you? That low, persistent hum of resentment, deep in your chest, every time you watch someone else claim sole credit for a collective win. Or worse, when you see them heralded as the savior for fixing a problem they, or their system, helped create. You put in the hours, you poured out the effort, the team executed. Yet, the spotlight invariably finds a singular figure, and the underlying issues that plague everyone? They remain untouched, sometimes even deepen. This isn't just bad luck. It's not an oversight. This persistent pattern, this misattribution of credit, is not an anomaly. It is a deliberate feature. It is a fundamental component of the operational environment you inhabit, designed with precision to keep you from asking the right question. The chronic exhaustion you experience, that dull ache behind your eyes at the end of the day, it doesn't just stem from the sheer volume of tasks on your plate. It's engineered. You are operating inside a system designed for opacity, a structure whose primary function is to obscure the true points of leverage and extraction. And the most effective tool in maintaining this opacity, the most insidious bypass operation deployed against your critical thinking, is what we call the hero narrative. It's not a simple story. It's a specific psychological vector, a Trojan horse for your analytical resources, deployed to keep your internal operating system focused on the wrong targets, ensuring the real machinery remains hidden in plain sight. Think about it. When a crisis hits, or a major project is completed, what's the immediate reflex of the system? It's not to dissect the systemic failures that allowed the crisis to develop, nor is it to examine the complex distributed effort that led to the solution. No. The immediate reflex is to identify, isolate, and elevate a single individual. The visionary, the fixer, the leader. This isn't accidental. The hero narrative is a powerful cognitive redirect, a strategic move designed to divert your analysis of complex, interconnected events from their structural causes directly onto individual actions. It funnels your attention away from the intricate web of policies, processes, and power dynamics, and instead points it squarely at a single face, a single name. This prevents any deeper interrogation into the architecture itself. This tactical misdirection serves a critical purpose. It assigns both credit and blame to single figures, effectively firewalling the underlying system from any meaningful scrutiny. When things go well, the hero reaps the rewards, embodying success. When things go wrong, the hero is either scapegoated, or their heroic's failure becomes a tragic, isolated incident. Either way, the operational architecture, the rules, the protocols, the actual levers of control and extraction, they remain untouched, unexamined, and thus unchangeable. Consider the countless transformation projects you've witnessed, spearheaded by a charismatic individual, celebrated upon launch, only to see the same fundamental issues resurface months later. The hero moved on, but the system, protected by their very presence, kept running its original extractive program. This mechanism keeps your internal operating system trapped, perpetually focused on personal effort, individual contribution, and the quest for recognition within predefined boundaries. You're told to work harder, to innovate, to be the change. Could be the change. And while these sound like empowering directives, they are in fact part of the capture. They keep your gaze fixed on the individual player, while the true systemic levers of power, the actual points where value is extracted and resources are siphoned, remain entirely hidden from view. You might perceive this as simple leadership recognition, a benign cultural bias towards individual achievement, or even an inspirational story designed to motivate. But that perception itself is part of the engineering, a clever sleight of hand to prevent you from decoding the deeper game at play. It is not inspiration, it is a deployed tactic. The hero narrative is a sophisticated cognitive trap, meticulously designed to turn your innate empathy, your desire for progress, and your very human need for meaning into a compliance loop. It's a blinder, engineered to make you celebrate the symptom, the hero, rather than diagnose the disease. The systemic extraction, your desire to contribute, your aspiration to make a difference, is weaponized. You are encouraged to pour your life force into shoring up a system that is actively siphoning your energy, all while being told that your efforts are part of a greater heroic cause. This isn't about leadership development. It's about obscuring the actual operational architecture. It's about maintaining the current flow of value. This capture mechanism operates with silent efficiency, rerouting your analytical bandwidth. Instead of tracing the financial flows that benefit from persistent inefficiency, or identifying the decision-making bottlenecks that maintain the status quo, you're conditioned to look for the next individual who will save the project, the team, or even the company. This creates a perpetual cycle. A problem emerges, a hero steps in, temporary relief is achieved, the hero is celebrated, and the underlying structural flaw remains. It's a closed loop, where the system consistently reinforces its own existence by generating new heroes to address its self-perpetuating issues. You are effectively paying attention to the magician's hand, while the other hand orchestrates the entire act, extracting your attention and, crucially, your agency. The true lever, the actual point of control, isn't the individual being paraded in front of the cameras. It's the underlying code, the framework that defines who gets credit, who gets resources, and whose narratives are amplified. To upgrade your internal operating system, to move beyond being a participant in this compliance loop, you must first recognize the architecture of the trap itself. It's not about being cynical. It's about becoming acutely tactical. When you recognize the hero presentation as a deployed signal, your analysis shifts. You begin to see past the individual to the systemic payload they carry and the hidden interests they serve. This is the first step in de-patterning yourself from the extraction economy, because as long as your focus remains tethered to individual figures, you are effectively self-blinding. You are handing over your precious analytical resources to the very system that seeks to remain opaque. You become an unwitting participant in your own capture, reinforcing the very narratives designed to keep you from decoding the true levers of control. You cannot dismantle what you cannot see, and the hero narrative is perhaps the most effective tool for rendering the true mechanisms of extraction invisible. The urgent task now is to recalibrate your perception, to develop an internal filter that immediately bypasses the individual and interrogates the system they are being used to obscure. This is how you reclaim your agency. This is how you begin to see the actual operational architecture, and that is where the real work of dismantling begins. Because as long as your focus remains tethered to individual figures, you are effectively self-blinding. You are handing over your precious analytical resources to the very system that seeks to remain opaque. You become an unwitting participant in your own capture, reinforcing the very narratives, dematerializing the true levers of control. This is the final layer of the containment field, a cognitive firewall. It is built not from code, but from manufactured praise and manufactured blame, designed to keep your attention orbiting the wrong center. This architectural choice ensures that systemic flaws are never fully exposed, protecting the underlying machinery of extraction from genuine scrutiny. The loop holds as long as you believe the individual is the primary variable. This capture mechanism keeps your internal operating system perpetually focused on personal effort, on individual achievement or individual failure. It bypasses any deep analysis of the true systemic levers at play. Your energy is directed towards adjusting your own input, optimizing your personal output, or emulating the hero's resilience. But these are all operations within the system. They divert your processing power from identifying the system's own design flaws, its inherent inefficiencies, or its deliberate extraction points. Your analytical resources are firewalled from the actual command console, directed instead towards managing your own internal state. This is not benign. It is a tactical misdirection that costs you measurable value every single day. You might perceive this as simple leadership recognition, or a harmless cultural bias towards individual achievement. Perhaps you call it inspiration or storytelling. But this perception is part of the trap itself. It encourages you to internalize the narrative as a natural function, rather than what it actually is, a deliberate deployment. It primes your empathy, your innate desire for progress, and your impulse to connect with human narratives, then redirects these valuable cognitive resources. This isn't about making you feel good. It's about making you compliant. It is about keeping you from questioning the framework itself by offering a relatable, yet ultimately distracting, focal point. This is a cognitive trap. It turns your innate empathy and desire for progress into a compliance loop, obscuring the actual operational architecture, extracting your value. Your exhaustion isn't a personal failing. It's a symptom of a system designed to funnel energy. The hero narrative acts as a pressure release valve, allowing you to invest emotionally in individual struggles or triumphs, instead of initiating a root cause analysis of the system's design. This diversion protects the underlying mechanisms of control and extraction, preventing them from being decoded. The system wants you to see a face, not a schematic. It wants you to feel, not to calculate. This mechanism, designed to obscure, can be reverse engineered. The countermeasure is a direct protocol upgrade for your own perception. It requires an immediate tactical shift of focus whenever a hero is presented. Your internal operating system has been defaulting to surface-level recognition. To the individual, this is the exploit. We are about to recalibrate that default. This is not about cynicism. It is about precision. It is about reclaiming your analytical sovereignty from a narrative designed to hijack it. You must refuse the offered focal point. Your resources are too valuable to be spent reinforcing the capture. When a hero is presented, immediately shift your focus. This is a deliberate, active override. First, trace the systemic beneficiaries. Who profits, structurally, from this individual's story? Who gains more control, more resources, or a clearer path to extraction, regardless of the hero's personal outcome? Second, identify the structural dependencies. What mechanisms, what policies, what unspoken rules allowed this hero's story to unfold in this specific way? What infrastructure created the problem they supposedly solved? And what infrastructure remains untouched? This is how you decompile the extraction loop. This is how you expose the true operational architecture concealed by the individual narrative. This isn't about hope. It's about data. It's about disarming a specific exploit in your cognitive architecture. The exhaustion you feel is the direct result of an active extraction loop, sustained by these narratives. When you trace the beneficiaries, when you identify the structural dependencies, you are not merely observing, you are actively dismantling the capture. You are upgrading your internal operating system from participant to analyst. This new lens is not a choice for later. It is a necessary recalibration now. You are not a hero. You are an architect. Begin.